So, some days are just one of those days. And sometimes it's just one of those days because something happens in the outside environment that completely drives us wacko, something unexpected and whatever, and it puts us, in shock. And another reason it can be one of those days is just because it's a day our mind goes bonkers. You ever had your mind go bonkers? No, okay, please come give this talk then. So our mind goes bonkers. Sometimes it goes bonkers with attachment, and we're just like craving, I want this, and our mind has no peace in it at all. And other days our mind goes bonkers with anger. I'm fed up, I don't like this, I'm mad at the world, I can't stand anything, everything's wrong. Yeah? So that's usually, sometimes our mind also goes bonkers with jealousy. It's like, oh, all these other people are better than me, they have an easier job, they can practice better than me, they have this, they have that, I don't have it, it's not fair, life isn't fair. So our mind can go bonker with jealousy sometimes too. So on one of those days when our mind is just completely out of control with afflictions, we sit there in the middle of it and we think, this is never going to end. I'm going to be like this forever. Don't we? Yeah, we feel like this mood isn't a mood, it's reality. And I'm going to be like this forever, there's no solution, and that's it. And then we get really depressed, we get really full of despair, and we say, it's all useless. I'm craving and I can't get what I want. I'm angry and I can't get rid of what I don't like. I'm jealous and the world's unfair, so it's all hopeless. Yeah? Our mind thinks pretty stupid things sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah? So you got to stop at that point when your mind says it's all hopeless and say, is that true? Is that true that it's all hopeless? Okay? If it were true that it were all hopeless, then it would mean there would have been no reason for the Buddha to have practiced the Dharma. Because the Buddha was once an ordinary sentient being just like us, having one of those days. And if it was all hopeless, he would have been just as hopeless. He never would have practiced, he never would have attained enlightenment. Because he couldn't attain enlightenment because it was all hopeless. But by the fact of the Buddha being able to transform himself from an afflicted sentient being into a fully enlightened one, means that it's not all hopeless. Okay? Because we're in the exact same situation that the Buddha was in before he became enlightened. We're an ordinary sentient being with all of our afflictions and our karma and all this stuff. Okay? So if the Buddha could practice and, actualize his goals and so on, then certainly we can as well. So, when I say don't believe everything you think, this mind that says it's all hopeless is one of the false things we think that keeps us really trapped. And it's that very thought that we need to question and say, is that true? Or maybe our mind says, well, it isn't hopeless, but I'm hopeless. Everybody else can do it, but I can't. Then we have to ask ourselves again, is that true? What makes me so special that I'm the only one incapable of attaining Buddhahood? Yeah, the ants can attain Buddhahood, the grasshoppers can attain Buddhahood, even the hell beings can attain Buddhahood, but I am special and I can't. That's a little bit arrogant, isn't it? So that way of thinking also isn't right. So then you may say, okay, maybe I can do it, and maybe everything isn't hopeless, but it's so hard. And I don't want to work that hard. The path to enlightenment should be easy. Why didn't Buddha make it easy? Well, if Buddha had created it, he would have made it easy. But the Buddha didn't create our suffering, and he didn't create the path out of it. He just understood our suffering and realized the path, and out of his compassion taught it to us. Yeah? So then we say, oh, it's just too hard, I don't wanna. Then we have to say to ourselves, well, if I don't want to, that's okay, I don't have to, nobody's forcing me to attain enlightenment. But what's going to happen if I don't practice the path? Well, then I'm going to be more miserable than I already am. We don't want that. If you have a stomach ache, you don't want a worse stomach ache. Okay? So we say, okay, it might be hard, it might take a long time, but it's possible to do it, and I'm qualified to be able to do it. And actually, it doesn't matter how long it takes, because I'm going in a good direction. And as long as I'm going in a good direction, I have reason to feel very joyful in my life. Yeah? So then we pick ourselves up, and we feel joyful, and we go on. Right? Okay, let's do it.